Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, that is probably one of the most clickbait thumbnails I have ever done, but I love it. Hello there and welcome back to another Sunday night, and it is time for another live stream. So there is a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, we have the Apple, the DJI of Apple is the DJI of the electronics world, or DJI is the Apple of the drone world, whichever way we want to do it. We're going to talk about the Vision Pro and what potential there is for the Vision, because come on, if you're going to name a product Vision Pro, you know and I know there's going to be a cheaper, less pro version around the corner, because that's how Apple roll. And we're going to talk a bit about what the Vision Pro actually means for FPV, because it could mean the end of real FPV, and it could be the beginning of something new. And we're going to talk a bit about that as well. And do we think this technology will proliferate down into something that we may start to use in the future? We're also going to talk a bit about the new Express ELRS update, because there is a big one out, and I haven't actually had a time to test this myself yet, but there's some cool new features. Radio Master are trolling me again, and they've sent me something else to look at. Every time I complain about something with Radio Master, they send me something. And I was like, I would love a set. I've done the upgrade on my Boxer, and I now need to get the light rings. And what turns up? Set of light rings. We're also going to talk a bit about this flight controller, because I burnt this out. And I want to show you, actually. I burnt this out in a spectacular way on the bench. And I really wish I had it filming at the time, because the flame that came off not one but two of the ICs on this board was quite spectacular. And then we'll talk about anything else that comes along the way as well. Now, I hope you are all safe and well, and I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat first of all. I hope the audio is working as expected. I think it is. No one has told me it isn't. Hello. I'm going to scroll to the top of the chat so I can catch up. Hello, Mr. I'm not going to get through everyone, but I'm going to say hello. Express ELRS big update. There is. What's up? Hello, James Who. McFern, Matt Cron, how are you? Petra Peen, Mr. Bosco 55. I'm not going to get through everyone. Hiya, Mike, how are you? Ramdonko, recognize the name. James, Ramdonko again. Nonstop FPV, hi, how are you? Allmac FPV, hello. Bitterroot FPV, yo friends, how are you? Mowing the lawn at the same time, be with you soon. Try not to get important tasks, get that finished. Chris Whitehead, evening all, how are you? Alex FPV getting down the chat. Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm not going to get through everyone, but I don't want to leave anyone out as well. 10 out of 10 audio. Brilliant. So, I suppose it's been an interesting week in FPV for many, many reasons. And the big one that we saw this week was the Apple thing. We'll talk about it, as I did do the thumbnail. Now, I will share something with you guys, because someone did comment on that there was something missing on my thumbnail, and I will share it with you on the desktop now. And obviously, yes, it should have had a pair of googly eyes in it to make sure that I got it absolutely right. And I forgot to do that on the thumbnail, so I do apologize to you all. However, the Apple thing is rather interesting. So for those who have been under a rock, Apple have announced, and released isn't the right term, because this is rather unusual for Apple. Apple usually announce and release, but right now this is announcement. This is, hey, we've got this thing. And it is, let me find it. We're going to put it up because we do need to talk about it. because I think it is important, because it will change the perception of many things. And more than anything, it will change the perception of FPV pilots when you're out and about, because it won't be, look at that weird guy anymore. People are going to assume things very, very differently. And it is obviously the Apple Vision Pro. Now, as I've already said, and let me put my... Oh, I'm there. Hello. I appeared in a strange place. Let me put myself back where I should be. It is obviously a augmented reality goggle. Now, they are not pushing this as VR. They are calling this augmented reality. And there is some incredible tech here if this works. It is on another level to anything we have seen. And just to cover some of the basics, we have a headset that has an M2 processor, which they're putting in MacBooks. It has an R1 chip, which is their new chip for doing all of the vision stuff. But more than anything, it has got a display, and this is the incredible bit. A display that has 23 million pixels, dual displays that when combined make a 4K display, which can be as wide as 100 foot. You can have a 4K display, which is 100 foot wide as the perception. It is incredible. The pixel density on this display is incredible. But not only has it got a display on the outside, it's got a on the inside, it's got a display on the outside as well. It is micro OLED. It is a pixel density unlike we have seen before, as far as I'm aware, especially in a consumer product. Now, Apple are pitching this as, for many things. Display replacement with augmented reality is what they're pitching this for. And I'm not going to go too much about what they're talking about it for. They're showing you it controlling the desktop. And this is some really cool stuff, right? I think there's some cool stuff here. Watching movies and stuff. It does have the creep mode, which is, it doesn't go clear. When I first saw this, I thought what that did was just sort of change it so you could see through it, but it showed your eyes. But no. What that is doing is taking an image of your face and reproducing it on the outside. So that is actually a full-on display. That isn't just we're showing you, the actual eyes. It is a full-on display. As I've said, those displays, 23 million pixels, dual displays making up a 4K display up to 100 foot wide, 90 hertz, which I thought was really interesting. We're coming up against that 90 hertz number again. Let me just grab my cup of tea. That's just arrived. .90 hertz display, so very interesting. And as mentioned, around 14 milliseconds of latency. Now, that is what they're talking about from, I think, control input to display. We don't really know what that number actually means. But they are really showing it as a desktop replacement. There is no, as someone just asked, HDMI input. There's no display input. This is designed for reproducing Apple display. However, there is nothing to say you couldn't have the Fly app running and have it showing on here. Now, you're not going to get the best latency, but look, today we don't have all of the proper use cases for this. But what this is going to do, and there will always be criticism against Apple, and look, hey, let's get over the price is $3,500. They will sell more of them than they can make at $3,500. Okay? People think it's expensive. Look, Apple will sell it. It's not a problem. There are people out there who will toss that chump change up the road for this all day long. You'll be seeing kids in the park wearing these because mum and dad bought them a set. I'm not in that echelon of people who live out there. However, there are people who will toss $3,500 on this like they're buying an ice cream on a Sunday afternoon. So, we are talking some incredible technology here. But more than anything, the real question is what this means for everything else. But really, for me, what this means for FPV, because this is about to make wearing goggles mainstream. Okay, so whereas in the past we have all been looking like complete crazy nutters, this is very much gonna make it normal. And I know there are other VR headsets out there. We know you've got the Metas or the Oculus ones. Lots. Sony have just got their new one for the PlayStation. Yeah. Look, we know there's loads out there, but they will basically make this the norm. And what Apple are really good at is taking existing technology and making it just work. And I think it is incredibly exciting. I really do. But what's interesting more than anything is how this tech is going to come down to us. How are we going to start seeing in FPV this move forward? How is our world going to change? Because it will. Mark my words, it will. Someone said, what TF is the norm? The norm is people not looking at you like a crazy madman when you're out in the field with a set of goggles. Now, the first thing I think we will see is I think you will start to see FPV goggles change shape and design. And I think you're going to start to see them start moving towards this. For me, I think what's really interesting is the display technology. Now, you're not going to see these displays end up in FPV. You know, this is Apple making their own custom display. But it is going to drive forward the pixel density massively because other companies are going to want to copy this. And whereas we're sitting here thinking, you know, oh, nice 1080p OLEDs at 90 hertz, I think you're probably going to see some big bumps in display very, very quick. And I think you'll probably see some higher resolution displays hit the market. I don't know if we're going to see an aftermarket replacement for this because that front end is all glass, right? So that, you know, look, that is all one glass piece, two displays in one. And I think, look, you're not going to easily see people replicate that. But what you will see is more displays come with a huge, huge pixel density. Now, the real question for me is where does this push us for FPV and really sims? Because from a sim point of view, this could change everything. Yes, we've got FPV goggles. You know, you're flying sim on your current goggles, but this could be the most immersive experience we've ever had. And if people start making, you know, sim apps for this, it could genuinely change. And where is the point that you're going to start saying people, well, I don't need to fly real quads because I can use these goggles. And don't think that's as crazy as it sounds. There is a point where if we can get the physics, the displays, and everything up to a point, people will just go, I'm not going to bother going out into the real world. I'm just going to put the goggles on and have a fly around in a new location, augmented reality location, again, with these goggles. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Now, these aren't really going to be for FPV. We don't know if there's any form of HDMI input. I wonder. I do wonder if there is a way of getting video in. I think what you would get is some apps. You know, look, I can see DJI being all over this. I really can. I tell you what surprises me in all of this, more than anything, I am shocked DJI hasn't produced a proper set of VR augmented reality goggles. Apple have outjumped what DJI should have been able to do here. They really, really have. Now, what we always tend to forget with Apple is Apple are a software company. And what they're really good at is building hardware to make their software work the very best it can. And that's what they're doing here. But it really is an incredible bit of kit. I think it really is impressive. If we see what Unreal Engine is actually able to do, yeah, they are $3,500, and they're not going to be for us. And look, you know and I know, as long as... Right, okay. There is a standard set coming. There is absolutely a vision coming after these release. It'll be 6 months to a year, but there is absolutely a vision coming. There is a reason it's called the Vision Pro. And if I was a betting man, right, the Vision will have no front display, as in looking out so people can see your eyes. It will have probably some less functionality. I don't know what else they'd cut off it. A cheaper display, some other missing functionality, and I think that'll be it. But the very fact that you can have a 4K display at 100 foot, that's on another level. Yeah, probably about 4K euros, someone said, yeah. And people say it's expensive. It is expensive, but there are people who will be chomping up for this. There will be people queuing to get this on day one. I'm not going to say that, but yes. Augmented Reality Sex Toy 2 from DJI. Oh, yeah, there's the truth. I'm going to put the chat back up. You all know it, and I all know it. Now, I'll be honest, if I was Facebook and Meta, I'd be worried. Apple will smash them out the water. They always do. It'll sell just because it's Apple. It'll sell because it will work very well. Unless they actually get this really wrong, it will work very well. Look, I've been an Apple user for a very, very, very long time. I've had almost every iPhone. I'm an iPhone user. I have MacBooks. The only reason this is a PC right now is because there are things I can only do on PC, mostly around the video capture. I did move back to PC from Macs when I just couldn't afford another Mac at the time, because there was a period where the Intel Macs were just monetary-wise insane compared to the performance. Whereas today, I've got an M1 MacBook Pro there, and I am seriously considering getting a Mac Studio. Seriously considering getting a Mac Studio and going back to Final Cut Pro, because of the issues I'm having on Resolve. And it's looking like I need a bigger, again, graphics card. But it is, I genuinely think you will be surprised at the filtering down of some of the tech in this goggle very, very quickly. On the M2, Resolve works like a charm. Yeah, I am tempted. If I'm going to do it, I am very looking either at an M1 Max. There are some, I'm not going to say good deals. Good isn't the right wording to use. But there are some reasonable pricing compared to the new pricing on an M1 Max on the Apple Refurb store, as the new M2 is just released. And we're talking like 500 quid cheaper. If I had to go back to Final Cut Pro, I'd probably noose myself. I loved Final Cut Pro. I can run Resolve. I can run DaVinci on it. M1 Resolve is still a little poor. Yeah, I believe the M1 Max should be a big, big difference. But the M2 Mac Mini is okay for editing 4K plus. Yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for a Mac Studio if I'm going to do it, because there's not a lot in the price. By the time you spec up, I need at least 32 gigs of RAM. I won't even touch it. By the time you spec up an M1, a Mini, it basically comes in towards the price of a Studio. There's not a lot of it. The Studios, the Mac Mini is good value at the lower end, but the second you start speccing it up with like 32 gigs of RAM, you start then seeing the price increase. I saw how one guy was showing 8K RAW footage. The real key, and here's an interesting thing, okay? The real key in Resolve is the codec. I can edit ProRes like a beast, but I don't record in ProRes. I record in MPEG-4, and I mostly record in OBS in a high lossless codec, which Resolve absolutely hates. And as a result of that, I have problems. If I've transcoded everything into ProRes or something else, it would be absolutely fine. It would work absolutely perfectly. But I don't have time to transcode everything. I want to be able to edit MPEG-4 recorded in high bitrate without messing around. And Resolve hates it. And I mean hates it. Absolutely hates it. No word of a lie. It just really doesn't like it. Now, I haven't tried ProRes. I haven't tried it on my M1 enough yet. I've got quite a new M1 and I'm going to use it for the desktop for a week. But yeah, I'm looking to do that. But that's for the editing on the channel. So we'll get to that anyway. So with regards to the FPV goggles, I think you will be surprised at the proliferation we will see. I think we'll see some changes. It won't be overnight. It's not going to be tomorrow. We don't know if they got HDMI input. We don't know if we're going to be able to use them at all in FPV. But I think you will see an effect once it releases. But it is super interesting. But I think the real benefit for us more than anything is I think that the fact that it will become a lot more normal to see people wearing goggles. And people will go, oh, look, you're wearing VR. And you're going to start to see that now with the Oculus stuff. But Apple tend to make things, the norm is the term I use, but, you know, for the masses. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't know what your thoughts are. I think it's incredibly interesting. I would love to try a set. No, I won't be buying a set. That's what happened when people were wearing goggles glass. Displays are 90 hertz. Yeah. Which, look, isn't ideal for FPV. But then again, we're at 100 hertz max now anyway on OLEDs. You know, there are no OLED goggles out there which are faster than 100 hertz. They're all 90 hertz displays. Google Glass, yes. They're all 90 hertz 100 hertz displays. You're not seeing these high refresh rate OLEDs come through yet. Hopefully we will in the near future, but today we're not going to see it. It's going to be interesting though. Interesting times ahead. It really is. The big panels are, yeah, I think it's limited use case. I think it's pink eye is going to become the norm. Pink eye and bonitis. I think there's not really been the use cases for it. And I think you may now start to see that. Chris says, I'd be happy with HDZero at 1080p 90 hertz and better optics, less plastic visible. Yeah, I think we're going to see some improvements. I think this will filter down. Because look, you know and I know what's going to happen now is all the Chinese companies are going to be making copies of these. And as a result of that, you're going to see more displays hit the market. People are already crying about $650 for FPV goggles. If DJI came out with something approaching this level, it would still cost around... Yeah, agreed. It would be over 2,000 plus. 100%. I'm just shocked that DJI haven't made a move into this. Okay, so if you guys got any questions on that, please do let me know. Definitely prosumer level. Yeah. And look, Apple are aiming this as a desktop replacement as well, which I think is super interesting. Super, super interesting. I wonder what's going to be like editing videos with your hands. 7-inch long-range quad. So, if you've got any questions, please do put them in. Just catching down on the chat, just so I know. I pay £1,000 for a larger field of view, coming from the guy who runs 4x3, so I just don't focus on the edge of screen due to the optics. Yeah, I think it's interesting when you look at FPV goggles today. And actually, I got a couple of big videos coming, actually. The first one's done, and this turned into a much bigger video than I originally anticipated. I sat down here, middle of the week, about 9 o'clock one night. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a 6 months later discussion on DJI 3. Okay, so it's been 6 months since the release of DJI 3, and I thought I'm going to... Cool cat, you missed the start of the stream. I thought, oh, it won't take me long. And this video started as the idea in my head was to sit down and just go, you know what, DJI 3's been around for a while, 6 months, where did it start, where's it at today, and what are my thoughts? And this is probably turned into nearly a 40-minute video that's taken almost a week to put together in the end. And it's going to go live, I think, tomorrow now. And there's a lot to discuss. A lot to discuss. And more to discuss than I thought. But what it's also turned into is a bit of a, hey, DJI, sort your fucking shit out, because there's stuff here that is still a crap show. Because whilst 03 has been really good, it is a complete crap show for compatibility, for the features that still aren't there. You know, there's no power options, no latency readout, no recording on the original ear unit. The binding issue is still a nightmare. The firmware stuff. And there's loads of little things on 03 which is really still bad. Yeah, Wes, I put that in there. I commented on that. The link taking ages to recover, that's in there. And this is the problem. This video started as like a 10-minute idea in my head to say, well, look, they've done this and they've done that. And actually, it's turned into a retrospective look at where 03 started and where it is today. And I ask myself the question at the start, and I sort of answer at the end of, do I think 03 is the best FPV system out there? And it's going to be a really interesting one. It's way too big, this video. I'll be honest, the best thing you guys can do is download it and listen to it as a podcast, because it actually is going to make a real... I'm actually really pleased with it. It's a bit all over the place, because the problem is, it's like you're making a video like this, and I'm like, oh, I need to remember that needs to go in, and oh yeah, and that needs to go in, oh yeah, and that needs to go in, and it became this big thing. But it's also a letter to DJI to say, you know what, we like this. This is actually really good, but there are bits of this that are shit, and you need to fix this, and you still haven't done it. And I'm going to tell you, you still haven't done it, and tell everyone you still haven't done it as well. And that's what it turns into. And I intend to do the same for Avatar HD. There is going to be a 6 months later. No, it's not. It's a year later on Avatar HD. It's already started. I've already got it in progress, because we're a year. Remember, Avatar was first shown at Rampage last year. Although, remember, you don't get to know. But it was first shown at Rampage last year. And we're a year later. And I want to do the same for that. And I'll be interested to see people's reaction to that, because that system has developed a lot more than DJI. And we all know how much DJI appreciate and respect my opinion. Well, they tend to listen to it. They just don't talk to me, Wes. They usually just change stuff after I've whinged about it. So that's going to come out tomorrow. And we're going to do, an avatar a year later because it has changed. And remember, the avatar system started with, frankly, a lot of nonsense, hearsay, and outright lies. Let's not pretend that. We had, at the day they were showing it, Rampage, and they're going, oh, we can't tell you what this is because you don't get to know. And then the website went up, completely oblivious to them, showing the name and the make and the manufacturer, and they went, no, we're nothing to do with Cadix FPV. No, we're nothing to do with Cadix FPV. No, nothing to see here. No, we're a totally separate company. And then what happens? Like 8 months later, Walksnail branding falls away, and it is now the Cadix Walksnail Avatar HD system. But they weren't the same company. Let's not forget that. And why did it look a lot like DJI? I don't know. Was it the DJI chipset? No. But what it was made to look like DJI. But you don't get to know. Just remember that. Some things you do get to know, but this you just don't get to know. So we do need to go back over that and discuss that whole thing, the whole 12 months. And I did put a video out on Cadix. Shit. That is on the channel already. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a look. But yeah, I don't forget. And I'm not going to let anyone else forget some of this stuff either, as much as these manufacturers would like you to. However, I have to say, I really do like what Cadix FPV have done. And I'm not saying they designed the system, because they haven't. They really are. And it's got some horrible behaviors at times as well. But it's an interesting product. And then, by the time I've done those two, we might be able to talk about HDZero. Because we might have 1080p mode. There might be some new VTXs to talk about. There might be a new Race version 3 to talk about. There might be a new freestyle VTX to talk about. But there isn't today. And it's really hard to make content on a product that users can't buy, has a number of issues that is really driving people up the bend, and they're getting impatient with the answers they're getting. And I am really looking forward to be able to talk about HDZero again. But today I can't. Because I cannot comfortably make content on a product you can't buy. And whilst I made a review on the goggles, that was fine. It's really hard to keep talking about things when you can't get them. So, look, I love Carl. I think Carl is an amazing human being. I actually class him as a friend. He is phenomenal. But I will also be open and clear and say HDZero need now to stabilize. They need to get their crap together. And Carl knows this. We need all these little issues to go away. We need the analog to be sorted on the goggles, the optics fixed. Carl will get it all there. It's a huge learning curve. We all love Carl. He will do it. But as a content creator and as someone who has to be fair, I have to criticize them where they've got it wrong, and they've got it wrong on a few occasions here. But he will get there. He will get there. But then I want to really look forward to the 1080p mode. I really do. And I think people are going to have some nice stuff coming. I think the new Race V3, which I believe has been mentioned by Carl. And I think... there's whispers of a new freestyle VTX. And I think that will be... people will be pleasantly surprised. People really will. I know what I would do if I was making a VTX today. Here's an interesting concept. So, you see a lot of products come out, and I tell you this, and if I was Avatar, they need to listen very quickly as well. If I was making a VTX today, it needs to be this shape. Whatever VTX you're making today, it needs to look like that. And I'm not saying this is the best form factor. I'm not saying this is the ideal setup, because it isn't. However, this is accepted now by manufacturers as the most widely wanted system. And this is what everyone needs to conform to, because this is what all the frame manufacturers are making. And you need to be nuts not to make one that shape and size overall if you can today. And I'm not saying you can't go smaller. Go smaller if you can do it. But you need it to be that, because that's what everyone is making frames for. If you look today, right, look back for the last 2 years, has anyone ever made a dedicated frame for the Avatar HD system? Has anyone ever made a dedicated frame for HDZero? I think there was one for HDZero, wasn't there? One of the racing ones? Wasn't the switchback? Wasn't there a modified switchback for the HDZero race? But the reality is this. Everyone makes frames to suit DJI. Just look at the frames that came out on release day for DJI. I'm just looking up there behind me where my quads are. So, DJI frame, DJI frame, DJI frame, DJI frame, DJI frame, DJI frame. Everyone makes quads for DJI. So if you're making a product, you need to be on that bandwagon. You need to be taking advantage of that free marketing all day long. Because it is free marketing. You can market your frame as compatible with all DJI O3 frames. It is like an instant win. Yep, they make frames for DJI, and then they suck for mounting non-DJI cameras. Yeah, I agree. DJI went silly wide with that camera. Matthew Wagner, I made into UL5 today with HDZero Freestyle. The VTX just sticks out enough that it whistles maybe 0.5 mil off the rear props. Eventually it stopped hitting because it wore off. That's the way to do it. Seen the 100 grams 032S? No, I haven't. Who's that made by? I had this year because I was making something else. I was making a video with this just now. I've got this year because I wanted to talk about the LED rings, because my box is in the back of the car. But yeah, I just had it next to me because I was making something else. I'll talk about... I've got the LED rings for those who haven't seen them, and I'll just show them quickly in a minute. And I just put the radio next to me so I can talk about it there. That's why I had it next to me. Sometimes I just put something next to me just to show it. And no, Radio Master don't sponsor me, but they have kindly sent me the light rings. Yeah, so BJ FPV make 100 gram Cine Whoop. Nice. And I think there's definitely space for smaller boards. Like, for instance, if we look at what Avatar HD and HDZero have done with the Whoop boards, is brilliant. That side of it is fine. Amazing, fantastic, we all love it. But for the larger output boards, they need to conform to the DJI sizing as much as possible. You need them to conform to that standard. because that's what people are basing frames on. And you want yours to fit in that because it's a no-brain win. It's a no-brainer. It really is. That's my opinion, you know, and I think, but what, again, look, what DJI lack is a 1S solution. It is interesting, and I have discussed this before, actually, because, you know, if we talk about DJI and people keep saying, you know, is there going to be an O3 Lite? And it's really hard because this really is the O3 Lite, the Vista. It's really hard. You know, look, the only difference between these two VTXs, right? So Vista O3 is that this has the additional media processor. And I have explained this before for those who have been here before, but for those who haven't, the easiest way to think about this, okay, is this. This is your PC. This is your PC with an RTX 3080. That is the only difference between these two. Now, the reason DJI was actually able to make this so much smaller into this, but then include more in it, was the packaging. So, DJI have absolutely optimized the board layout and packaging on this to make everything fit. And part of the way they've been able to do that is the Vista wastes loads of space. So when you take the covers off the Vista board, and just to show you guys this, let me just go to repair.wiki, and I'll just show this quickly, because there's a lot of wasted space on the Vista. So if we look at the ear units and things, so that's the ear unit. So inside the ear unit, there is a bit of dead space. So if you look here on this board, there's a lot of dead space on this board here, a lot of routing. A lot of the space on this has been taken up by the SD card, and then there's a lot of space down here on the front end. You could make this smaller, but they didn't because they needed the space for this board here. And this is the main ear unit, which is fairly well packaged. But if we look at the Vista, there's actually a lot of wasted space. So if you look at the Vista, look, all of this is dead space. Round here, round here. If I just click on this, make it bigger. See, all of this is dead. There's nothing, you know, it's only what's in this here is used. The rest of this is completely dead space. It's the same on the other side of the board. Lots of dead space apart from the connectors. Same on this board here. This side is maxed out. Okay. So what DJI did with O3, and if I just show you the images I've uploaded, on O3, they've optimized everything massively. So that whole RF front end, which was on one side of the ear unit board, is now on half a board. Look, they've literally squeezed it onto half a board. But what you'll also notice is they're not wasting all of that space around the sides because it's going in another metal casing. Then what they've done is used a smaller flash chip here next to the P1. If we go back. And then you've got the additional media processor, the larger flash chip, and then voltage regulation. Now, what DJI have done, if I go back to the overhead, is basically cram more into this. Now, an O3 Lite could just be a Vista with an O3 camera, but on a single board solution. And I do think DJI could do this. I think they're not going to get this any smaller, right? So anyone who expects this to get smaller, it's just not possible. It's not going to happen. Without losing that chipset, and then it doesn't really become O3. But what you could do is have sort of an O3 Lite with like the O3 camera with a single board Vista. And it would have the same quality as you get on this with that O3 firmware today. And I think people would be very interested in that. You know, I do think people would be very interested. But As for if DJI will do it, we don't know. We genuinely just don't know if they're going to release new VTXs. I'll be honest, look, the future of the existing DJI system is very unknown. Look, the air units are available, but we don't know for how long. The DJI air unit isn't. The Cadex Vista is still available, but we don't know how long they intend to continue to manufacture it for. Because at the moment, you're limited on cameras. You've still got the Cadex cameras. I don't know what Cadex's supply is like today. I haven't checked for a while. But if we go to Cadex, they've actually got stock longer than I expected. And I do wonder, actually, are they still receiving supply from DJI? Because I would have thought they would have sold out by now based on it's like a year since all of this kicked off. I find it hard to believe that they still have stock of all of this a year later. Because remember, it's 12 months. They would have sold out. They would have sold out, I would have thought, by now. So I wonder if there has been a bit of a walk back on the agreement. Or the disagreement. I do wonder. Because that would have been gone. And it's still a Cadex Polar Starlight Vista kit. You can still buy it. Nebula Pro Vista kit. You can still get it. Not in all the colours. They are sold out of the white. But they've got it in the black. Perhaps it is still stock. I don't know. But I do find it intriguing. Very, very intriguing that they do still have supply. You know, this camera, ear unit micro camera, this is basically the DJI camera. You know, that is as good as the original DJI one. That's a great deal. I need to order one of them. Now, obviously, RunCam are still selling their side. But their camera's just not as good because it doesn't have all of the adjustments. You know, you got the Link Wasp kit on the Link Falcon Nano. So the Link Wasp, 139, not bad. The Link Wasp Nano, the Link Wasp, you know, it's 120 frames a second, but it's limited to 4:3. You can't change this one to 16:9. It's stuck at 4:3. So you're stuck at, yeah, you're just stuck. Which is frustrating. And we don't really know what the future of it is, you know, what DJI intends to do. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Okay, so before we move on, I just want to address the super chat that has just arrived. Thank you for that. Let me just find it on my side. Rebed, hi. I recently switched from Orqa goggles to HDZero. I'm using with Mavic 3 and RC Pro HDMI out. They are great except for terrible fitting foam and the video hangs a second or so. It's not smooth. Right. There has been issues with the HDMI input on the HDZero goggles. They are working on that. Try it with the new beta firmware that's out if you haven't tried it already. I believe they have improved the HDMI input. As for the foam, yeah, you're going to have to just try some. I find it okay on mine. But I do believe the Sky Zone foam fits. But you're just going to have to try some. But thank you for the $10 super chat. That's incredible. I hope that helps. Hello, what's up? Thank you for the $5 every week. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. So, it's... By the way, is DJ taking too long for the new foam. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with their foams. Now, I do have a video, yes, I'm going to go there, on these. The iFlight foam masks, which I've been testing for the last couple of weeks. And the video is ready to go. It might be delayed a little bit. But I have been testing them. However, I haven't been able to test the new DJI one. It has not come into stock. I have not seen it. It is like vaporware. Now, Mike Bergman, I'm going to give you guys on my live stream, as you are amazing people, a real quick overview of these foams because it's really easy for me to work this out. So, on these foams from iFlight, and let me go to the European store. Because I'm going to need to talk you through these as I do it. Because mine are actually out in the car. I've got some of them here, but not all of them here. Here we go. Okay, so iFlight have their foams. So what I'm going to do is give you my opinion based on me and my testing and the opinion of the stock. Now, let me just clarify for me my experience with the DJI Goggles 2 and the foams. I get basically no light leak on the Goggles 2 standard mask. I get vignetting and blurry edges. Not massively, but I cannot get them clear end to end, and I cannot see all of the corners. Now, in my tests, my eyes are too far away from the lenses. If I push the goggles closer, the vignetting stops and I lose the blurriness. So that is the baseline. Okay. So, iFlight have 3 foams. Okay? The first foam is this, sponge padding. Okay? They call this their V1. This is just a piece of pad that goes around and a nose piece. Okay? For me, this gives me the best optical picture. This foam, this V1, brings the goggle closest to my eyes than any other foam. However, it does have a little bit of light leak, but it is very good. Almost perfect. The only problem I found with this foam is that it isn't comfortable. And I find it presses hard on my cheeks and my nose area. But it absolutely gives me the best overall optical experience. No vignetting, no blurriness. Then, the next best foam is the V1 wide. Okay? So the V2 wide foam. Okay? The wide is wider than the DJI mask, less sponge than the DJI mask, but gets you closer than the original DJI mask, but not as close as that other foam I just showed you. It has, for me, quite a bit of light leak, but it is less vignetting than the DJI foam, less blur, and it is wearable and comfortable. And this, for me, is that wide is the best option I've come across so far. But it is actually a little bit too wide for my face profile, and I do get some light leak around the cheeks. Okay? Then, for the narrow foam is by far the thickest of the 3. It is the most comfortable by a country mile. I've got the wide here, a narrow here. This foam, right? This thing is a stonker, right? So let me just go to the overhead. This foam is the thickest of the foams. You can see it there. It's the most padding. It's the best comfort of all of the foams overall. However, this foam will move the goggles further from your eyes than the DJI foam and the other twos. And as a result of that, I get more vignetting, more blur. No light leak. Zero light leak on that one. So, in order, for me, the best foam is just the foam pad, then the wide, then the DJI, then this. For the most comfort, it's the wide stroke DJI. Normal comfort, the very most comfort is that, but that will push you further away. But it is the most comfortable. I love that foam on the goggles, but I would need to reduce the display. Loads of vignetting with that foam. So what you need to work out with the DJI goggles too is, do you need to be closer or further from the lenses? If you need to be further away, get the narrow foam. Just get the narrow foam, that sorts you out, job done. If you need to be closer, then it's probably the wide foam will get you a little bit closer, but it's still comfortable. And then the V1 foam pad will probably be perfect, but it's not that comfortable to wear. And this is the problem with the DJI goggle. It is a goggle too. It is a complete compromise. Do they have these for the V2s? They do have foams for the V2s. It's not these, but it's other ones. So that is the situation with the foams. Really, the key to this is, do you need to be closer or further away? The wide, though, is wider than the DJI mask. The DJI mask is, you know, if I talk about, so wideness, that is the narrowest, then DJI. So that's the narrow, then the DJI, then the wide. And the easiest way to think about the iFlight masks, the wide is wider than DJI, the narrower is narrower than DJI. And that's the easiest way to think about it. It's either side of the scale if you put DJI in the middle. And that's where it is. But yeah, they're available. They're all right. I'm going to go with the wide is what I'm going to go with. The Integra mask was a better fit for me. I run 90% display with the foam. Yeah, pretty good. The Integras is better than the goggles too. And I'm going to order an Integra mask. But yeah, so that's the difference with them. I do have a dedicated video put together on it. It'll probably go live in a week or two. But yeah, they are available there if you want them. Okay, catching up on the chat. Okay, now there's been a couple more super chats. Rabad, thank you. Thanks for the review and convinced me to get the HDZero goggle. They're a very good goggle, nonetheless. Enjoy enough super chats, Apple, Google. Thank you, my friend. And Mike, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I hope that helped you out, Mike. I tell you something though. Oh my God, the goggles too. The anti-fog is a crap show. I don't know what to do. I'm at the stage of making a complete mod for it because it's a crap show. I have barely been able... It's been really hot here in the UK. Yes, the Integra foam works with the goggles too, and it's a bit better. And it has little vents for the air to get out as well. The anti-fog on the goggles too is just shocking. Stevie, okay. I'm going to address this a little bit and then I'm going to move on because I don't want to get dragged into the politics of this. Okay. There has been some videos and talk around iFlight supplying drones to Russia. iFlight have released a statement on this. And let me just go here. The statement is here on the iFlight website. I will put this in the chat section as well, and people can read that as they will. iFlight have openly said they do not market or sell products for military use. What I'm going to say on this, I'm going to keep it brief and keep it very simple. I find many things in that video hard to believe. The quantity, the very fact that they're sitting there in retail package, the quality of the video, and the very fact that it is likely propaganda to say, hey, look what we've got. No company in their right mind, even if they did, would be supplying in retail packaging. If they are being sourced elsewhere, so be it. But I can tell you now, that many quads, no. You got to understand, these types of drones are hand-built. Think of the logistics. Think of how long it would take, how many parts that would take. There is more nonsense in that than it's propaganda. Don't believe it. I have spoken to people today in many different levels, and I am comfortable with the answers that I have been given, and that's really all I can say. I will, unless there is anything I have not seen or there is something that changes, I will continue to treat products by iFlight as I have always done and as I do any other manufacturer, because I have seen nothing there that adds up. And if you really start digging into it, it don't make sense. And even if it is, they didn't come from them, but the numbers don't add up. And that's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say. My stance on the channel has not changed because of the assurances I've been given. And I think we should be very careful of hanging a company based on a piece of footage that looks like it's been edited 1,000,000 times, ridden over, blown up, then put back together and filmed on a Nokia N95 from about 8 years ago or 10 years ago. There isn't logic here. Just look at the math. Because I know if I was doing something like that, I'd send everything over in retail packaging with my branding all over it. So, that's my stance. Now, I don't want this to descend into that because I don't want to talk about politics here. But as it was brought up, that is my stance on this. And you know, and I will say this now, I don't give a flying fuck what company I upset. But I will always be fair. And if I'm not willing to just say, yeah, sod them. You know, if we look at, let's say, the ASUS thing with the motherboards and the chipsets and all of this, I am more than happy to tell someone to go, and I'm not here, and because I think you have to be fair. And that is where I'm at on this. And unless I see something different, because, look, a piece of propaganda designed to make one side look really good, and I think a company, because, unfortunately, my personal opinion is I think they have been dragged into something that has nothing to do with them. And unfortunately, that's it. But let's leave it there. I don't want to get down this rabbit hole. You know, and look, let's not pretend consumer electronics is not being used in a bad way in places. And this is bad, regardless for them. We as an FPV community don't need this. We do not want the news organizations to pick up on this. Look, it is incredible how we've seen the use of consumer off-the-shelf products in that situation. But this has also got to be crapping people, making people crap themselves in governments when you see it. And look, this is a new world we're in, and yeah. But let's leave it there. That's my stance. You will continue to see content based on iFlight products until I see personally evidence that I go, you know what? No, I'm not having that, and I haven't. And I think that's the honesty I can give you, and that's that. Okay, catching up on the chat. No, we're going to come on to 3.3 next. Just catching up on the chat. Do you think we'll use a question before we move on to ExpressRS? The DJI FPV drone, do we think we'll see another one? I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if we're going to see another FPV drone, you know. I wonder if DJI are going to stick with things like the Avata. Now, I don't know if we'll see another potato. I genuinely don't. It's a funny product. I don't think they'll want to leave that industry. I don't think they'll want to walk away from that. They probably sold a lot of them. I bet we would all be shocked at the amount of DJI FPV drones sold. I bet we would be blown away. Make a good low light camera for the O3. Yeah, it's shocking. I mentioned that in the video as well. It was DJI's difficult first child. It was. And look, what you got to say with DJI, though, my God, they got the Avata right. The Avata is bomb-proof. Do you know what? I genuinely think I've crashed the Avata as much as some of my 5-inch quads. Because when I was doing all that crash testing, you know, where I was saying it was falling out the sky, at one point I was just like smacking it into the ground all of the time. That quad just survives. That quad is... I love how bomb-proof DJI made the Avata. Don't get me wrong, it's breakable. But on a field, it's just bomb-proof. Yeah, and that's the problem, Mad Hatter, with the FPV drone. You know, you look at it, the arms will fall off. I have seen many, many crashes on FPV quads, but never to the level that I've seen the damage on the DJI FPV drone. I have seen some truly horrific bodies left from DJI FPV drones. It destroys itself on a whole nother level. It really, really does. They really did get lots of things right with the Avata. I saw someone crash into some weeds and it broke 2 arms. Yeah, you got to be careful how you look at it. If you look at it wrong, its arm will fall off. No potato 2, but there'll be something else and it'll be small. Yeah, I do wonder. I've been thinking about it. There's dead ones everywhere. Yeah. Just as some of the pictures, and I did one on the live stream, just going, look at this. Just look at how bad it is. But yeah, I was just wondering. Okay. Now, we need to get on with things. Please do give this stream a like. We're going to go halfway through. I'm gonna get onto the Express. Because I forgot to bring it up before the stream. would be the freestyle, FPV freestyle. Yeah. So may have Avata for the Mini 3 Pro for FPV. Interesting. It's pretty amazing the gimbal survived and still works. Yeah, and that's what I've had. CNameNet. That's exactly what I've had. It just works. Talked Apple Vision, yes. Yes, right at the start. Right at the start, Streets FPV. Okay. Now, there's not going to be a lot to talk here, but there is actually. There is a new big update for ExpressLRS. It's version 3.3.0 RC1. And there's a lot here because there's a big improvement in overall a lot of things. But there's also a really cool new feature in this, and is the fact that you can now use this as a set of telemetry radios. And I think this is absolutely fantastic. Now, as always with ExpressLRS, you need to make sure that you're using the arming switch on channel 5 and all of the usual AUX ones, making sure it does what it should be doing. But the great thing is it's compatible with all 3.3 versions. It brings in cloud builds. Now, I haven't tried this yet to see how fast it is. Should we try one? I'd be intrigued. It usually messes up the live. Do you know, something that usually definitely messes up the live stream is doing an ExpressLRS flash. But they've now got cloud builds, which means there are pre-built firmware files on lines. Seconds, Wes says. Do I need to update the configurator, Wes? Is it going to... ELRS configurator. Where's my bloody configurator? There it is. Is it going to prompt me for an update? Let's have a look. Oh, no update. No update. I need to install the latest. It's not prompting me. Is the latest 5.10, Wes? I'm going to get a USB cable, 1 second. $5.10. Is that the latest? 1.6 RC1. I'm going to have to go and get it. And I forgot. They don't show it here. You got to go to the accepted page. Oh, what am I typing? What the hell am I typing? Let me get the configurator. It's all in RC. It's a separate page for the configurator. Put them in one. Okay, so we need the... is there a portable? We'll have that one. We'll wait for that to download. We'll try this live. We'll see if this works live. Have I got a flight controller that actually works? And this one doesn't power to USB. I've got to grab a battery as well. Which is frustrating. Okay, so we're going to need to install... Yes. Run anyway. Yes. Let's trust the ExpressLRS devs. Ooh, didn't like that, did it? Ooh. Am I sure I want to do this live? Probably not. But we'll go for it anyway. Could go horribly wrong. So, while we're waiting for that, what we have is cloud builds much faster. Wes says it's seconds. So we're gonna prove him right or we're gonna prove him wrong. We have Airport, and I think Airport is bloody fantastic. And I haven't tried this yet, but Airport will allow you to convert an ExpressLRS receiver and transmitter into a set of telemetry radios. Now, Wes is going to be able to answer a question on this. Wes, I want to use 2 transmitters. Why can't I? But what you can do is use it to then pass over any protocol of your choice, including Mavlink, And you can use it as a set of 2.4 gigs radios or 900 on 900, which is going to be fantastic. Now, this is really interesting because there are lots of fairly cheap 433 megs and other telemetry radios out there, but this does give some really nice options for people who just want to use an Express ELRS receiver. Now, you do need to be aware that it doesn't allow you to do RC. You do need to make sure that you have a separate RC link. It doesn't do your RC and the telemetry link at the same time for this specifically. What it is one or the other. Wes has just said you can use 2 transmitters, just flash one with the RX firmware. So could you then basically, Wes, have 1 watt each way with 2 1 watt transmitters? Am I right in thinking that? If you use two Wes, you could do 2. You could have 1 watt each way. The struggle is then getting pads for full UART as most TX modules out of most TX modules. Okay, I see what you mean. We need a solution for that, Wes. Can we not have it so it plugs into USB? Yeah, you could use the Radio Master Box. Hello. Still can't do Mavlink. It says it does Mavlink. Includes Mavlink. It does Mavlink. Peppermint. It does Mavlink. So, this is really cool. Really, really cool. It supports new receiver protocols. S-Bus. We finally have S-Bus. We have SMUD is added as well. And Wes was working on this one a lot. He's added support for the DJI RS Pro communication, allowing you to control the gimbal. And I'm guessing, Wes, is this over CAN bus, Wes, on that? Because I haven't spoke to you since you see my original video. And actually, I did a video on controlling the original Ronins via S-Bus because DJI added it, and I used to make a lot of content about the Ronin gimbals. In fact, I've probably made more content about the Ronin gimbals than... No, S-Bus, right, okay. Than anyone else. But you can now control it via S-Bus. So that must be basically the same as it was before, Wes. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Thanks, Wes, for the Ronin controller. Yeah. And I actually showed ages ago. Like, this is like a 2-3-year-old video I showed this. This is one of my old, horrible videos, in fact. Wait, I got to look at this. This will be a very old video. It is a handheld gimbal. If I search for Ronin S-Bus, there it is. There's my video from 4 years ago. Let me just mute it a minute. Let's just have a quick look at this. Shock horror. Oh my God, look how thin I was then. I'll unmute it.
Because it is Bluetooth, and once you get beyond that range the signal drops and you lose control. If you did want the ability to control it on a further distance, the way to do it is using a standard RC receiver and a remote controller, because DJI have built in this functionality as well as the ability to use the external remote controller that they'll have available coming soon. Now, you may or may not have noticed that on one side of the focus wheel there is an S-Bus stroke CAN bus switch. So to use this, you will need to place it into the S-Bus setting, and then for your S-Bus on a normal. Pin 1 is 5 volt, pin 2 is ground, and pin 3 is still signal.
And I'm going to stop right there because I've said something wrong. It is actually pin 4 that is signal. So number 1 is voltage plus, number 2 is ground, and pin 4 is signal. When I recorded this, somehow I managed to change it between getting from my workshop back to the computer. 4.
Closest pin to the front, which is the 5 volt connector. The next one back is then ground, and then the radio. And what it means is, over great distances, you will be able to control your gimbal and do some actually quite interesting moves if you didn't want to use the onboard features with the DJI Ronin app. Now there is one or two little downsides to this.
An awful lot of content on the Ronin over the years. I used to test for DJI on them. So for those who don't know, that was when I used to do all. If I look for the Ronin content, I've got freaking loads of it. There should be a playlist here somewhere. They used to get good views. There's 36,000 views on them. Where's the playlist that these are in? There should be a lot. The Ronin was good gear playlists. I stopped doing the videos because I wasn't really supporting DJI anymore. So I did the... Oh,
today we're going to be unboxing the DJI R.
Oh, look, that's an older look at the studio. Wait there, let's bring that back up before we carry on. Oh, look at it there.
RS2. This is
dark.
My one. It has finally arrived. I've been waiting a month for it, and it's finally come.
I bought the RS2 and then sold it.
Now, this is the RS2 Pro combo, which includes the Raven Eye image transmission module.
Actually, one of my most popular videos, interestingly, on that is the Raven Eye. Anyway, Express LRS. Let's get back on target. So, we've got support for the Ronin. And Gemini and diversity for 900 megs now. So they've added that amazing new stuff. So true diversity, 900 megs receiver. Really great to see. That's come through as well. DVDA for 900. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Oh, D50 packet mode. Cool. So you've got 50 hertz, D50, 4 repeat packets across 3 frequencies. Wow. That is cool. That is very cool. Wireless head tracking, 16-channel PWM receivers, and lots and lots of other stuff. And MSP VTX support for combined TX and RX. So, all very, very cool. Now, the real big one, though, for me, is the fact that you do have that airport functionality, and they say you can now flash these things a lot quicker. So now, we're going to try it. God help you, Wes, if this don't work. So I'm going to plug my flight controller in. I think this is pre-set up. And we're going to plug in the USB. And I now have to figure out what receiver's actually on this. That's a beta FPV, that is. So, we're going to go pre-releases. 3.3 RC. This one is a beta FPV. And this will be... which is the one with the silly antenna? I can't remember which one it is. Is it the Nano RX? I think it's the Nano RX, the one with the silly antenna. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I can't... It's either the... It's got to be the Nano RX. I'm going to go with that. Beta flight pass-through. There's my key. No one cares. You're not flying near me, don't worry. We're then going to select the serial port, and we're going to see how fast this flashes, okay? So here we go. Build and flash. Build and flash. Is it build and flash? It says build and flash. So we're going to build and flash. It's the light version that has the antenna. Wrong target selected, look. Look how quick that was. Nano. Ah, see, just as someone comes in there and says, look, it wouldn't let me flash it because it was the wrong one. So let's get the right one, shall we? The Nano. Where's the Nano RX? Why can't I see the Nano RX? Micro, sorry. Where's the Micro? Micro TX. Where's the I can't see it. Why can't I see it? Am I being blind? Nano RX, Micro TX, Nano TX. Is it not there then? Oh, Light RX. I'm being blind. Force flash it. Was it the light? It could be the light. Should we try the light? Let's see. That is substantially faster doing the initial bit. And there we go. forgot what it was called because I was streaming and wasn't paying attention. Yeah, that is hands down faster, because it would usually be 30 seconds of building the target. That's better. Seems a little bit slower to flash. Am I right in thinking that it's a bit slower to flash? But that is so much quicker. So much quicker than it was before. It's usually that build process takes a long time. You know, if we go back to the pre-release and just then go to 3.21 and flash back to that and build and flash, I'm guessing it's going to go back to the old way of doing it now. Oh no, maybe not. It's already there. Has it already got it there? Oh, because I'm using the new configurator. Does it already have the build files in the background? That's probably what it is it? Yeah, that's what it is. That's me. I thought I might be able to show that. I'd have to use the old configurator, to do it the other way. But that is so much better. So much better. Outstanding work by the dev team. We like that. We like that a lot. Really is good. So, look, there's a lot of real cool stuff in here if I go back to the desktop. Just going back to DVDA for 900. So, Team 900 is now part of the DVDA family. With the latest release, we introduced the new D50 packet mode, leveraging the 200 Hz LoRa. I have read this before, I'd just forgotten it. Parameters to transmit 4 repeated packets across 3 frequencies. So I remember this coming in before. This approach is identical to functionality to the D250 of the 2.4 frequency mode. Let me just unplug that flight controller. The primary goal for the D50 packet mode is significantly enhance the link quality in RF congested environments, particularly when flying alongside other pilots operating on the same frequency domain, by providing 4 transmission attempts for each packet. So you're basically, they're spreading 4 packets across 3 frequencies. So here's the question. I assume then, to one of the devs who's here, that 1 packet is sent twice on the same frequency. So am I thinking you go, say, frequency 1, 2, 3, 1? Is that how you do it? Because you obviously go 1, 2, 3, 1. Is that how it is? Or is it 1, 1, 2, 3? Or 1, 2, 2, 3? Interesting. Okay, cool. That's I was getting there. we were getting there too. And Jace just said couple of D50 with Gemini 900, and it's 8 packets across 6 frequencies, because both are transmitting. And are they then synced on Gemini so they don't overlap on the same 6 frequencies? So each one would be going 1, 2, 2, 3. But would it be almost not 1, 2, 2, 3? It would be 4, 1, 4, 2, 2, 5, 5, 3, 6. Correct. No overlap. Wow. 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 Now, that is going to be super interesting when using that with the new airport mode, because that's going to help, I guess, with that side of things. Are these lottery numbers? Yeah. So, as Jay is here, and this was his baby, are they... I haven't looked at this for a while. Yeah, you need a gift of me, can't you? Don't. I'm using my fingers. Are there off-the-shelf Gemini stuff today? Are manufacturers making off-the-shelf Gemini now, Jay, or not? I haven't seen myself. Do we have off-the-shelf Gemini hardware? And this is actually something people need to understand, because you've got soon. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And this is the thing people also need to understand is because you've got multiple types of diversity coming, really. You've got antenna diversity in Express LRS. We've got receiver diversity, and then you've got Gemini. So we've got 3 worlds we're in at the moment. So there are Express LRS receivers with just antenna diversity. I'm trying to remember who does one with just antenna diversity. Maytech. I know Maytech do a full diversity one, but I can't remember if they do only an antenna diversity one. So you've got, Maytech. I know Maytech do the Radiomaster RP3. That's right. So the Radiomaster, that's it, the RP3. It's been a while. So if we go to receivers and the RP3. So the RP3 is antenna diversity. So you've got two antennas, but 1 RF. I can never say his name. I don't know. How do we pronounce... how do we say his name? So, come on then. J's... how do we say it? I don't know. I never get this right. Someone tell me how we say his name. You need to send me a voice thing, Wes. B2FPV have true diversity. That's right. It was those two. So we have antenna diversity. So the RF chipset in Express LRS already has JA. JA, is it? JA. JI? JI? Nah, no one help him. So the RF front end, so the SX chipset already has 2 diversity input, I assume. There's nothing different from a hardware point of view, is there? Or is there an antenna diversity chipset? It's been a while. Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith. Agent Smith is his new name. Agent Smith shall be his name from now on. Yes, Mr. Anderson. So, yeah, we've got those ones. And then we got... I'm going to have to go to Beta FPV's website. Ah, that's it. Paul. Yes, yes, yes. So it's only the models with the PA that have the diversity. Yes, yes, yes. It's all coming back to me now. That makes sense. It's 2 PAs. For receiver diversity, it's 2 PAs and 2 SX1280s. Yeah, that's where I was getting to next. So if we then get to Beta FPV, and we go Express LRS RC receivers. So here we go. And Beta FPV have some nice images, actually. New tab. There we are. So, okay. So, we've got the Radiomaster one. So, if we look at that, so what you've got is the SX1280 chipset with the PA. Now I can see it properly. I get it now. And then we've got the dual diversity antenna inputs only. So, antenna diversity. Then we've got the proper diversity. So diversity receivers, which is then using 2 PAs, 2 SX1280s or 1281s, and then it's doing diversity in Express LRS. And then on top of this, you've got Gemini. Now, hardware-wise, is there a difference between this and Gemini, Mr. Anderson? Is hardware-wise, I'm just trying to think. What's the there must be probably a hardware. Yeah. Say my name. Thank you for $5 super chat, Mr. Agent Smith. I appreciate it. I'm guessing there has to be a difference because you're running... Is it running two ESP32s? By any chance? Yeah, it must have two ESP32s, mustn't it? Off the top of my head. It's been a while. We need to look at the Gemini. We need to look at Gemini. Where's the Express LRS? Oh, I've lost Express LRS. Single ESP32. Okay. Oh, not configurator. Express LRS releases. And we want this one. It's only on the TX side as well, though, where they're just reading down. Single ESP32. Gemini is the same. Is the same as True Diversity? Yes. Just trying to. Here we go. Gemini antenna mode selection. Jay with the super chat. I'm trying to find the Gemini page for Express LMS. Where is it? I found his Reddit post. He's got a video on it as well, look.
Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about a new transmitter I've been using. Called
Bloody
essentially a
Australians.
Gemini transmitter. And we'll talk about this guy soon. But before I talk about what it does, I thought I'd just give a bit of a background about our current receivers that we have in Express.
And he has a good video on this.
Stuff I've been playing with over the months.
What's he put, if we open this on YouTube, has he put a link to anything in the
I need to show you
description?
this. It's called a quad lock. This is the motorcycle handlebar mount, as you can see there. I've even got the vibration damper.
Watching an ad on his channel
and
now.
What I've just recently had a chance to go and test at receiving.
And he's
your
got
packet.
his board.
Why should you flick? I didn't.
So
see a
hardware-wise,
huge difference
what
for-
is the
particularly for racing.
difference
I just do
for Gemini then?
close range.
What is the functional
not a
difference?
huge
If it's one
improvement there,
ESP32,
anything at
two
all.
RF front
For
ends,
long-range
is it
guys,
the same
will be
hardware then? Is
beneficial.
it just the software?
Don't know,
I'm trying to
you
remember
may
because I thought there
find
was something
similar
hardware-wise I'm missing.
orientation. But once again, you're only sending one packet. It's in that one packet on one of the antennas, and if you have any problems with
Because this is
interference,
yeah,
then
because
they'll
this
get
was
picked
the
up by
original
one of
build
your
there.
receivers.
You can use True Diversity
So, Gemini mode.
RX as a Gemini
What are we
TX.
doing
Oh,
with
cool.
Gemini mode?
That's very cool.
Since we have our True Diversity transmitter receivers,
And look, he's got
which
his
have
video
two
here.
radios, why can't they listen on
Mr. Agent Smith
different
has his
frequencies?
video. And if you're interested in
So,
it, and look, there's the True
Instead of
Diversity
listening for the
receivers
same
there, which
packet
is very
on
cool
the
as
same
well.
frequency.
So, look, this is all very, very, very cool stuff. I actually need to get in some of the True Diversity receivers. I haven't tried it. Dual transceivers on the RX and TX. So your dual transceivers on the RX and TX. Two simultaneous packets are sent on frequencies in two different frequencies. Transceivers. Super. So, yeah. It is really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. And I think, you know, ExpressRS is good as it is. But if you add on top, you've got Gemini, you've got now this airport mode. The guys over there are doing a fantastic job. Now, I always say this when I talk about ExpressLRS, and what I would say is this. Look, these guys have once again delivered another magical unicorn. They really have produced another fantastic build. It is an RC1, so it is still in testing. You should, if you're going to use this, and please, please do, please consider supporting the project, the ExpressLRS project. The work these guys have done is incredible. And if you want to support them, you can. They do have a page where you can support them. It is an open collective. So Express, if you search for Express ELRS open source, open collective, there probably is a link to it on that page there, but it's here. They have an open collective page where you can support them. Please, please do it. These guys are amazing. The work they put out, the amount of development we have seen on the Express LRS in recent times is just incredible. It really, really is. We now, look, they have made, let's not underestimate this, but they have basically made everything except probably Crossfire and Ghost irrelevant, in my opinion. FR Sky, who wants that anymore? All of their nonsense, no, we don't want that. This protocol, this hardware, and the people they have working with them. And look, yeah, I had a radio here earlier. This manufacturer makes some of the best Express LRS hardware there is. They're not the only one, but they make some of the best as well. They make great receivers. They make great radios. And look, what you now have is an ecosystem that feels like, you've got manufacturers making fantastic hardware, and you can change. You can buy a Radio Master radio. You can buy a Beta FPV handset. You can go and get something from, iFlight's got a radio. There's loads of this stuff out there. It's all supported. Some of it is not quite on the correct builds, but look, it's all supported, and you're not tied into one system. You can get receivers from Radio Master, Beta FPV, Metexis, Happy Model, Namimno. There's others. I can't remember them all. But there's so much choice out there right now. So please support them. Please check it out. You can do a single donation. You can do a recurring donation. Please thank them for the work they've done. Okay, catching up on the super chat. Now I am going to do a video on the telemetry radios. That's going to be in progress now, because that's going to be super cool. Now, guys, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat. We're going to go for about 5 more minutes before I wrap this one up. So if you do have any questions, please do let me know. RF design stuff, but it now supports Mavlink. I might just give it a try. Yeah, the RF design stuff's 1 watt, which this isn't easy out the box, but it is really interesting. It's a super cheap option. It really is. It really, really is. Okay, just reading down on the chat a second, so catch in. Copyright claim coming. Dual receivers on the TXRS. Yeah, dual receivers on TX and RX. Yeah, sorry. Does Airport work with 2 TXs, 2 TRXs, 1 TX, 1 RX, or how does it work? Yeah, we had it confirmed earlier. So you can flash 2 transmitters if you want to, but you will have trouble because they don't generally have UR outputs. You can flash 2 receivers, potentially, or you could flash a TX and an RX. Can the magnetic field from a motor affect the transmission on O3, the cat father? Very unlikely. Your motor's bell mag field is going to be small. It's not going to be huge. If you were running here, huge motors potentially. There is, though, DJI do say you should use 48 kilohertz or higher PWM frequency for O3 to get the best performance. Can I make a video on how to update the iFlight receivers to 3.3.0? I'll make a video on how to update. It'll be the same for pretty much all the receivers. That's the great thing with Express LRS. No matter the brand, it is basically what I just showed you in this video. On a brushed motor. Ooh, brushed motors can be noisy. I wouldn't like to say on a brushed motor. Should know. Shouldn't, but you never know. Is DJI Integra the future of DJI goggles? Probably. I don't know. The Integra's a weird goggle. And I don't know how that goggle is sold. I'm intrigued at how that goggle is sold. It's better value. I think it's 90% of what the Goggles 2 are, but most FPV pilots prefer the Goggles 2 and they choose the Goggle 2. Very noisy. Yeah. Just catch it out. Just want to say thanks for all you do. Oh, thank you, Mo Blades. That's amazing. Thank you for the $5 super chat. What are the rough bit rates Airport can do? Right. When I read through the documentation, you're going to be talking a baud rate of about 9,600 at 250 hertz. It isn't as fast as, say, some of the radios out there. But what I haven't done is tested it or tried it on higher numbers. Sorry, on 500 hertz, it was 9,600 baud. Which isn't the fastest. It will be fast enough for Ardra Pilot updates, Mavlink, things like that. But it isn't the 5,700 I've seen. Faraday cage? Yeah, would help. Giving my Bamboo X1 carburetor a workout while I watch. Thanks, mate. No problem at all, Peppermint. It's a good printer. Yeah, Goggles 2 looks sweet. The shell, lol. Yeah, they're not the greatest fitment, though. That's the problem with the Goggles 2. Just reading down. Yeah, the Bamboos are in a bit delay at the moment, but they are coming out. Sorry, trying to work on a copter VTX. Love my Goggles too. Yeah, I think most pilots choose the Goggles too. Genuinely, I think most do. Someone asked earlier, what is the situation with Amazon and Goggles? I did see a question earlier about, was it Amazon and Goggles too? Went to 16 kilohertz and 16 fixed the timing on a 7-inch build and all well now. I think someone asked about Amazon. I saw something, but I didn't catch it fully. So I don't know if you want to ask it again. The Goggles 2 on Amazon for $846. Wow. That's a lot of money. What I would say is this as well, is when you're buying used goggles, be careful. I've seen a lot of people post like, oh, I've bought this official manufacturer refurbished DJI drone off eBay. Right, let me be clear with you. DJI do not remanufacture drones and sell them out to eBay. Unless it's a DJI store and it says DJI is the seller. And most of it are complete nonsense. DJI has now and again sold refurbished drones on their own website, but anything online you see that says manufacturer refurbished is complete and utter BS, and you could be getting any old shit, including something that's probably been stolen. So be careful. Do not believe for 1 minute someone saying, oh, it's manufacturer refurbished. They all say that. It's complete nutsers. 1,500 UF cap okay for 6 to 8S bats. Yeah, more capacitance, you know, I think it's okay. It'll be fine. 1,000 is about where I tend to go. Like new for $379. Seller is not DJI. Mid 23. If you've got protection, it's probably not a bad deal. Ricardo, Amazon V2's like new for $379. Just be careful as long as you've got protection. I'll be honest, Amazon isn't the greatest as well. Yeah, it's a good size, and as said, you know, you're up in the voltages, you want more capacitance. 1,000, 2,000 should be fine. You don't want too much capacitance. The freaking thing will be still flying when you take the battery off. Right. Before I finish this one up, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported the stream tonight. A massive thank you for all of the super chats, the donations. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. There is a link to my Patreon as well as my Discord server in the description. Please do consider checking out my Discord. It is free to join. There's no restriction on it. It's open to anyone. Come along, say hi. You'll see some abuse. I normally hurl it over there. But more than that, I just want to say a thank you to all of my Patreons as well who support the channel. I would not be able to do this without your support. For me, this is the end of this one. I want to say a thank you for spending some time with me on a Sunday night. Stay safe. I will be back again, same time, same place next week. I'm getting ready to press the button. Look after yourself. Thank you to everyone who's donated on the Super Chats. And I will speak to you soon.